everybody, I hope you're doing super well. Welcome back to my channel, or if you're new here, hello. My name is JC Brady and I rarely make videos. I like to do it, but I just haven't had like a lot of good ideas and time, I guess. But there's one I've been wanting to make. A lot of people on campus always come up to me and they're like, hey, I recognize you from YouTube, and I think back and I'm like, oh, I wish I would have added so much more, especially as a senior, and I'm referring to my Berea College pros and cons video that I made freshman year. So, like I said, I'm a senior. I feel like I know so much more than I ever could have imagined. I can't believe I'm a senior still. Time has went by extremely slow and also extremely fast at the same time. It's been a crazy ride, and yeah, I thought I would just make an updated Berea College pros and cons video. So for upcoming freshmen and parents and everyone concerned, I hope this video can help you. And without further ado, let's get right into the video. So I'm gonna start out with the cons, specifically the cons that deal with freshman year in particular, because for some reason freshmen just have it so rough. Like, there's so many rules and regulations that they have to follow, and they don't get a say in certain things. And so yeah, I just wanted to start out with that. So the first thing that I can think of is classes. You don't get to choose your first set of classes. Now, you can come in and be like, hey, I want to be a biology major, and they'll try to put you in classes that have to deal with biology. So for example, I came in as pre-vet, so I was in animal science and chemistry at the same time. And that would have not, I guess, been my first choice. It was very hard. I had no idea what I was doing as a freshman. Somehow I made it through, but it was very stressful to not be able to have a say that first semester of what my classes were gonna be, I kind of just came in and had to deal with it. And I got through it, but it's just a little frustrating, not being able to choose what classes you want to take. And then also, when registration comes around, spring semester, you can choose, but seniors have top priority. So it goes seniors one day, and then juniors the next day, and then sophomores, and then freshmen are left with basically whatever's left, which isn't a lot. You're always going to be able to get into the freshman only classes, of course, because it's only freshmen applying, but even then it's super stressful. It's like the Hunger Games almost, you're just waiting to put your code in and hoping that you got it before everyone else. And I'm sure that's how it is at other schools too. I'm not for sure about the seniors, juniors, sophomores, and freshmen, but yeah, as a freshman, you just feel like nothing works out. But as a senior now, I'm like, yeah, I love registering first. Yeah, this is awesome. So yeah, I guess you win some, you lose some. You also don't get to pick your job freshman year. Berea College is a labor college. Everyone on campus has a job, and it doesn't pay super well. There's 5 pay grades, and you can actually look up online what they are. I believe they start out at $5 an hour. So yeah, when you come in, you don't get to say what job you want. Now, you can submit a resume. They can kind of fit you in where you have most experience. I did not do that, and I wish I would have, because I got stuck as a janitor freshman year. If you watched my first video, you know that. So it was really hard. Yeah, my job was honestly one of the hardest things I had to overcome here. It was miserable. I didn't have a great time with my boss. It was just repetitive cleaning. I liked it because I was alone and I could listen to music and call family, but it was very isolating, and it was just cleaning. It felt meaningless, and I'm thankful it happened. I've definitely grown and realized I can do a lot of things, and I'm stronger because of it, but it was very hard, and I wish I could have had a say in what I kind of wanted to do, Also, as a freshman, you are required to take 2 wellness classes, which was kind of weird and felt like a waste of time. I can't remember if it's once a week or twice a week, and it's just this really weird health class thing. I don't know. Obviously, I didn't retain anything because I can't even tell you what it's about. I think we just learned about healthy habits and the body and all that stuff, but that was really weird as a freshman. I definitely did not want to be there. And on top of that, you are required to take a swim test, which is also super random. You have to pass a swim test, or you have to be in beginner swimming classes. And I just think that's super weird. I passed, but it was just a super weird, I didn't understand why it was a thing. I think they won, I don't even have a theory, I don't know. Also, as a freshman, you cannot have a car on campus. Unless you live, I think it's like 7 hours away, then you're allowed, but if you just live 4 hours away like me, which is still super far, you still can't have a car, which is super frustrating at times because like being here all the time 24/7, it gets tiring, you know. You want to go out and explore and go to different cities, but unless you have like upperclassmen friends or take the shuttle that the college offers, like you're pretty much here. Speaking of that, Berea itself is a super small city. Like there's no shopping mall, there's not a movie theater, there's not much like that. So we have like a Walmart and a few restaurants, but besides that, you're gonna be traveling to Richmond or Lexington, which is like 15 and 45 minutes away, to really get like a true city experience. Berea is like a super small city. Another thing is when you do have a job here, you are not allowed to have a side job anywhere else. So you can't like work at McDonald's while working here. You're not allowed to have a second job outside of the college, which is frustrating at times because it's like I need money and I'm not getting paid a lot here. And we're all on labor contracts, so it's like you can work 10 hours a week or 15 hours when I know like at other jobs I can be working like 25 and getting paid way more. But that's just the college's rules. I'm sure it's because, you know, it's super intense here. The workload is crazy here, and I'll talk about that in a second. I'm sure that's why there's caution for it. You can get approved to have a secondary job if like you have a reason. Now you can have a second job on campus. They're called like secondary positions, and they're usually like 5-hour positions. So that's a little bit of extra money, but you cannot search for a job elsewhere. Like I mentioned earlier, classes are very intense here. As a senior, I've learned to handle it, and I kind of forget like how much it is. Yeah, they were really hard freshman year. I didn't have time to really do much. I didn't have time to hang with friends. I had to choose between like eating and doing homework, and it was really hard to get used to. I don't think I actually got used to it until maybe the second semester of sophomore year. Like, it was crazy. And now I'm thankful for it because it does prepare you for like upper graduate things like master's school. I maybe will go get my master's, and I'm not intimidated by it at all, but it is a little, you know, frustrating for people who don't plan to go do that, and it might just feel like a lot. But I do think that you learn so much here that you really have to challenge yourself, have to like challenge your barriers, and it really pushes you to do great things, and I am happy for that, but it was super hard and a really hard thing to adjust to. Also, attendance is absolutely mandatory for like every class. Pretty much every class I've had has been like you can miss like 2 classes, but once you miss like a third one, you get points taken off of your final grade. So I know a lot of colleges, I've talked to a lot of my friends, and they're like, yeah, you don't really have to go. That's not the case here. Teachers will absolutely know when you're not in class, and they will hold it against you. Maybe there's a few that won't, but in my experience, I've never had a teacher like that. I've had to go to every single class. Finally, I put this one at the end. It's because there might be a change coming next semester, next year. So originally, freshmen could not have like the opposite sex over into their room. So like I couldn't have a guy over, my guy friends couldn't have me over. And that was really frustrating as a freshman. It's only first semester, but it's like, what the heck? What are we doing? Like, why can't I have my guy friends over in my room? It makes no sense. And thankfully, this semester, the entire campus voted on changing visitation. Hopefully by the time you get here, I believe it will be changed or altered in some way. And my final con, and it's gotten, I think, better since freshman year. I don't know. The thing is, I went from eating meat to being a vegetarian, so it's also still kind of hard now, but I do notice a lot more diversity in dining. But regardless, it's not super great most of the time. It's hard to like find sustenance sometimes in there. It's dining food, it's free food, so that's awesome, but it's not like super tasty sometimes, or I don't feel like there is a lot of variety still for me as a vegetarian. So then I just think about people that are vegan, and I'm like, oh my god. Like they have like one section, and if they don't like it, then they're screwed for the day basically. It's pretty scary, but I think they're working on it, and I think they're making progress. But yeah, it's dining food. So I think that is all of my cons. I have some that are debatable, like they could be a pro, they could be a con, so I guess I'll start with those. So the first one I thought of was that everyone knows everyone, which can be super cool because it's close-knit, you know, and you're always going to run into your friends and people that you know, but it can also be a pain when you just want to like go out and you're dressed like super weird because you're just like so cold, and you run into like people you know, and it's so embarrassing. yeah, that's not fun. Also, I feel like everybody knows everybody's business here. It's pretty weird. I kind of wish it was bigger just so I wouldn't, have to deal with that. But some people love it. Some people love like a big family. So yeah, it's whatever you make of it, I guess. Another thing that's hit or miss is that to graduate here, it's a liberal arts college, so you have a lot of like perspectives and required classes. So like you have a Western history perspective, a religion perspective, and like all of these perspectives that you have to meet. On top of that, you have like all your GSTRs, which is like you basically take like GSTR 110 your freshman year and GSTR 210 usually your freshman year too, the second semester. And then GSTR 310 is Foundations of Christianity, but then you have to take a religious perspective where understandings of Christianity doesn't count, so it's a little confusing. I will say I've learned a lot of really cool things because of this perspective. The arts perspective was super cool. I took Appalachian literature for that one, and it was so much fun. I learned so much about Appalachia, and I read so much, and it was such a good time. But like next semester, I'm having to take my practical reasoning with quantitative emphasis, and I'm nervous because like it's math and I'm a comm major, so I'm a little confused, but I know it's to like have a well-balanced education. So it's another one of those things where it's like, ugh, I don't want to do it, but also I'm thankful that I am, Finally, this one I put at the end because since COVID's happened, they've not been required, and I'm not for sure like if we will go back to them. Convocations used to be required here. They were 7 a semester, and they were so hit or miss. I mean, it was rough. Like sometimes you would go in and you'd hear like a super cool one, and then sometimes you go in and you'd just be sitting there for an hour listening to someone talk. And you can't like be on your phone, you can't be reading, you can't really do anything during convocation. You will like get in trouble and get kicked out. It's basically just sitting there for an hour and listening to a speaker. And to do 7 of them every semester was pretty tiring, especially when most of them were super boring. There were some really cool ones, but I think overall I would have preferred not to have convocations. But some people might love them because they learned so much. So yeah, it's definitely up to the person. And finally, to the pros. We finally made it, guys. I will say I definitely have a lot more pros than cons. First and foremost, I think the coolest thing about Berea is that it is free tuition. So no one here pays tuition, which is super cool. You have to meet the financial threshold, so a lot of us, our families didn't make enough, or we are first generation college students coming from families. So that's really cool to be in like an environment where everyone kind of gets it, Like you never feel like embarrassed or like weird. Everyone like has been through hard times, and I think it's a really cool place to like get your education and like be with people who get it. It's also super diverse, at least from my viewpoint. So I come from a super small town in Tennessee. So coming here, I got to be introduced to like all kinds of religions and cultures. There's so many just different things going on all the time, and it's amazing coming from a small town. Like I never would have imagined there was so much, and I just love learning every day and seeing, how people live and what their beliefs are. It's really cool. Also, so many free resources for students. I've only wrote a few, and I know I'm missing some because there's so many. So the first one that really just helped me so much was counseling. So we get free counseling as students, and I've had a really good experience. I know some people haven't, but my therapist, she actually left this year, which is so sad. They really care for students, I feel like, at least in my experience, and really helped me through a lot of hard times that I don't know what I would have done without them. So that was really cool. There's also like career development, which helps you like figure out what major you might like, or figure out what job you might want to do after your major. And along with them is like the Office of Internships, which helps you like figure out maybe what you want to do for an internship. So Berea College funds 2 internships completely. That's like living arrangement, like food, everything, which is so cool. I've never heard of another college doing that. So basically, like, you are building your resume like crazy here. Not only do you have jobs on campus all the time, but you can do 2 internships, and you leave here with your 4-year degree with so much under your belt. The hope is that you will just flourish after college, which hopefully is what happens. They also help you with like preparing for grad school. They do mock interviews. There's like a funding that helps you get professional clothing. So yeah, there's so many resources here to help students. On top of that, there's so many clubs with so much culture, and it's just a really cool place. Like, you are just bound to get into something here. Also, there's writing resources in the library that helps you with like papers or getting your paper started. I've definitely had to use them a few times because sometimes it's just hard to get started or to finish a paper. CELT is a really cool program here. It's based on helping the community, so I know that there's like Adopt a Grandparent, Habitat for Humanity. I believe that they help with that a little bit. I did Berea Buddies, which was where I got paired with a kid in the community, and I believe like every Wednesday we would like eat lunch and play for a little bit, so it was really fun. And yeah, it was a good way to give back to the community. Since COVID's happened, I'm not for sure if they're doing it, but I'm hoping that once, you know, we get through this pandemic and everything's situated out, that we will go back to doing that, and I hope that you get to experience that. All of my professors here have been like outstandingly awesome. So many of them have just become my best friends or my leaders and mentors. I know like a few professors that my friends have had that have not been good, but luckily for me, I have had just the most amazing experience with professors in like school. I think what helps me a lot is before I apply for classes, I go on like Rate My Professor or things like that, and I check out reviews just to make sure that like they seem like a decent person. But yeah, I have just been blessed with the best professors. Also, we have a gym on campus that's completely free for students. We have free yoga sometimes, I believe like once a week, and this was pre-COVID, but there were like free yoga classes that you could go to and attend. Maybe it was 2 times a week, I don't know, but they were so awesome. And also the local yoga studio would offer yoga for like an extreme discount for students. I think I paid like $3 every time I went to a session, so yeah, it was super cool. Also, something I really love about Berea College is that I feel like it's super environmentally friendly, or tries to be. So everything at dining is composted, and also a lot of things from dining come from our farm, which is super awesome. I actually live in Deep Green, known as the eco-friendly dorm on campus. The Office of Sustainability, which I worked there for a semester, they have all kinds of events to promote sustainable ways of living. There's so many ways that you can educate yourself about the environment and ways to live, so it's a super cool learning environment. Another thing I want to mention is that in the dorms we actually have free laundry. I know a lot of colleges that don't offer free laundry, so yeah, that's a pretty cool perk to have as a college student. The final one, and that doesn't mean it's better or worse than the others, but in regards to like healthcare, there is a hospital on campus called White House Clinic, and students get like a sliding scale fee. So that helps pay for like all your medicine. It gives you like a really big discount, or even free sometimes. So like we all get like free checkups. If you need like certain medications or like a shot or something, it can cost a little bit, but because of the sliding scale fee, it's reduced like dramatically, which is pretty cool. So I never have to worry about like being sick and having to go to the doctor and having to fork out a lot of money, which is a huge stress reliever. So that's just a few of the pros and cons I could think of as a senior. I hope it's a little different than my first video. I hope you found it super helpful. And yeah, overall, I would say if you're feeling the call to come here, you should come here. I'll be here until next December, so December 2022. So yeah, if you see me around, feel free to say hi. I hope to see you around campus, and I hope that you have a good time at Berea College if you choose to come. Thanks for watching, guys. Bye.